I would argue that the new standard in college football, even with Michigan as a defending national champion, is Georgia. They're a program that's still intact as far as a program that's a recent national champion winner, a 29-game recent win streak. They're a few snaps away from being back in the playoff and going for a three. They were. I think there are. The quote is kind of wrong there, but that was Joel Klatt over at Fox, Big Ten honk and former Colorado Buff. First of all, yes, they are. They are the standard of college football. I don't think there's any question about that. In terms of the Michigan discussion, Michigan may well, this is a bit harsh, Michigan may well be, kind of looked at similar to 2019 LSU. Certainly not with the same quarterback, but kind of a one-off situation where, that's not going to happen again. And we'll see. But it doesn't look to me like, there's any fear of Michigan repeating this year. They are probably at best third in their conference in terms of the betting odds to win their conference or win the national championship, sort of the same thing in this case. But there's, you always get these Alabama folks who have sort of been programmed to think that Alabama's not going to lose a step or that things won't change now that Nick's gone. Things are definitely going to change now that Nick's gone. That doesn't mean that Kalen DeBoer isn't going to be successful. My suspicion is that he will be successful. That's my take. People that I talk to sort of, not always insiders, but astute observers, they feel like a two-loss season at Bama, that's a good year in year one. And honestly, Bama's going to be an underdog at LSU and to Georgia at home. As it stands right now, we're going to see, that's what it is right now. We'll see how it goes as we get closer to the season. But if you go 10-2, you're Kalen DeBoer, and you go into the playoff, that's a successful first season. I mean, it'd be odd to me if that weren't somehow a successful first season. So the notion that Michigan, again, for me, when someone does it, they go 15-0, they win the national championship, they get it all done. I think that needs to be given complete credit, but it also needs to be put into perspective. That was a Michigan team that, frankly, didn't play Georgia. They didn't play Florida State. There were a couple of teams that they didn't have to deal with. And, their biggest win was Ohio State. And, their biggest win at the end of the day, I guess, was Washington. But in terms of moving forward, no, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. But we'll see. I mean, when you're losing your quarterback, your your head coach, all that stuff matters, particularly the head coach part. And so Jim Harbaugh's gone. So that leaves Georgia. It doesn't leave Georgia. There's a lot of people besides Georgia that we could say is the standard of college football, the number one program in college football. You certainly could be talking about LSU. I would not say that. You could be talking about Oregon. Maybe we will say that about Oregon in the near future. And of course, talk this much about Michigan and not bring up Ohio State. Ohio State certainly could be the cream of the crop here in the next, say, 3 years. The thing they don't have, somehow, is the national championship. Plural. Because I think one national championship, now that Kirby Smart at Georgia has won 2, it's going to be hard to say, well, you've zoomed past Georgia with one national championship. Where is Clemson in all of this discussion? They're the only other program out there with their head coach that has a national championship at that school, if I'm not mistaken. You go back and look. Alabama does not. LSU does not. Obviously, Clemson does. Michigan does not. And then you're getting back to Ohio State 2014 with Urban. So right now, unless someone is escaping my brain, there's no one there. There's no one else out there. So could be talking about Clemson? No, to answer the question. And in addition, they were never the best program, even though they won it 2 out of 3 years. Now, they were the best team in 18 for sure. That was a spectacular Clemson team, one that We won't see that at Clemson soon, if ever. But that was a spectacular team with some really good players on it. But, Georgia, this isn't a mistake. Kirby Smart has built the machine. And they right now they are the standard. And I don't know why that bothers people so much, because I think for such a long time it was pretty evident that Alabama was the standard. And when I say bother people, I mean Alabama folks. It's clear that Alabama's not the standard anymore. They're not. I mean, they have not won a national championship since 2020. It's easier for me to say it than it is for them to win national championships, apparently. You don't have Nick Saban as your head coach anymore. And they have a great brand. They've always had a great brand. They had a great brand when Mike Shula was the head coach. But that doesn't mean you're the best program. I think the team to watch for me, there's two, and they border one another. It's Texas and LSU. Where do they come? I mean, there's significant pressure on Brian Kelly. I have to be honest, I don't necessarily know why there's significant pressure on him, other than in this league, you can't have a so-so year. I mean, it's amazing to me, and I'll be in Dallas at Media Days here in 2 weeks. Don't get me started on it being in Dallas. I mean, I don't have a problem with it being in Dallas once. I actually completely understand that, but we don't need to repeat this again. That's not where the league is. That's where the league expanded. That's not where the league is. So, with LSU, they have such spectacular players. I mean, their players. I would say Alabama has had better players over a 10-year period, but on purpose. LSU almost by accident has better players. And that's what I'm trying to say, at least. And it's just they just have so many great players, athletes, whatever you want to call it. It is exceptional. But they've not had the quarterback play, and when they did, this past season, it's hard. It's astonishing to me that this discussion even come close to coming up. Talking about there's pressure on Brian Kelly when their quarterback won the Heisman Trophy last year. But in notable games, I wouldn't say all big games. LSU's come up short with Brian Kelly, but it's year 3 now. I mean, I don't know what the expectation of. It used to be that year 2 is when you make the jump, Well, not so much anymore. That's not been the case as much anymore. It was with Kirby, but, with Dabo, no, it was year 5 or something like that. With Jim Harbaugh, it was probably year 6 or whatever it was for him. Ryan Day has made a big jump for sure, but he's not won a national championship. I mean, you look at Lincoln Riley at SC, and so you get my point. And for Brian Kelly, it's just there's pressure. I don't know. You can feel it. It's silly, but it's there. And then Texas too. I talked about Texas a lot here lately, just because of going to Dallas and Georgia playing them and all this stuff. But Steve Sarkisian's got a chance to do something special. But what I can't find out, and what this season will help me better understand is Sarkisian more of a, he can put it together once but not 3 times in a row guy? I don't know yet. We don't know. This is a good Texas team, but if they wind up 9-4 and they lose in the first round of the playoff, that's not what people are expecting. But both LSU and Texas have the players, have the resources. They have the natural resources to be extremely successful. Georgia always has too. Georgia's never had a sidetrack like Texas did for the 2000s for the most part, 2010s. But the 90s weren't. People talk about the 90s being real bad at Georgia. They're not close to how bad it was at Texas and Florida in the 2010s. And Florida, or Florida lately, really. But in terms of who's the best program, it's Georgia. And I don't what's controversial in any way about saying that, particularly now that Nick is gone. Nick's gone. He is not coming back. Him and Miss Terry are chilling up at Ray-Ban or wherever they are in Miami. I get it. I'd be out too. He's tired. He's done what he needed to do. There's nothing in there. He is probably not. I thought Nick would win one more national championship. Got that wrong, okay? But if he were to continue to coach, my opinion would be if he's going to continue to coach, he's going to win national championships. That's not been the case in 21, 2, or 3. Would it have been the case in 24? Probably not for me. So then he was probably looking around saying, well, why, I don't, there's, the point is, the only sentence is, Nick Saban is the best coach of all time in college football, comma, and he has nothing left to prove, period. So now you look around the landscape, and the best program lately has been Georgia anyway. And I think that a lot of people have been giving, Nick and Alabama the benefit of the doubt, which is completely understandable. But like, if you're not, if you don't have that guy anymore, and you are, I don't know how do you say, Alabama had a great game against Georgia. They did not have a great season. And that's the part that I get concerned about. Now, let me just add this too, though, about Georgia, is that they went a long time with smashing people. They really didn't smash people as much last year. I mean, you think about the Tech game, the Missouri game, the Auburn game. There was one with the Carolina game. And obviously the Alabama game. Those were competitive games. That didn't happen in 21 and 22. Like 22 had 2 competitive games, Ohio State and Missouri. That was it. 21 had 3 competitive games, 2 Alabama games and the Clemson game. Other than that, the games just weren't really that competitive. So is Georgia regressing to the mean? Is there someone else, Texas, Oregon? I don't know. But the best program until proven otherwise is Georgia. And the until proven otherwise is going to take a little time because of the success Georgia's had. Thanks for watching.